Brexit Secretary Dominic Raab. You are still determined to vote against the deal. What is so bad about it?
Well, I think in the long term it would be a democratic cliff edge for our country because we'd give up democratic control over vast swathes of rulemaking from the economy to social policy, and I think it would leave us uncompetitive. So I think it's a bad deal. I think we should vote it down, and as I've been setting out here at the Centre for Policy Studies, there are more positive, optimistic alternatives which would really grasp the opportunities of Brexit, and that's what we've got to do.
What about those of your colleagues like Michael Gove who say that you're risking Brexit altogether by trying to get a perfect Brexit?
Well, we're not trying to get the perfect Brexit. We want to give a Brexit which is faithful to the referendum, that takes back control over our laws. This deal doesn't do that, which means that if we're paying such a vast sum of money, we've got a clear route to a free trade agreement, not locked in some hybrid customs union and single market arrangement. But the reality is the whips and various ministers will quite understandably want to promote this deal. I think it's clear it's going to be voted down. It's a bad deal. We can see it. The EU has made clear there's going to be no changes on the backstop or anything else. And what I wanted to set out today is why there is a positive, optimistic alternative and a vision for Brexit which is there to serve the worker, the consumer, and aspirational working Britain, if you like.
The default legal position, as many point out, is that we leave the European Union at the end of March without a deal, potentially. Today the Prime Minister said that that would cause significant disruption in the short term. Do you think that the UK is ready for that scenario?
Well, I think that Roberto Azevedo, the head of the WTO, was right. It won't be a walk in the park, but it's not the end of the world either. And you've got to balance the undoubted but manageable short-term risks with what I think will be devastating economic and democratic consequences for us if we signed up to this long-term deal. This is not for 6 months, it's not for a year, this is for our children. And I think it's a bad deal and Britain can do better.
You say managing the risk there, that you're talking about people's jobs, aren't you, potentially?
Well, we're talking about risks with any alternative outcome, but what isn't being baked into this is the damage to our competitiveness and the economy and to jobs, as well as the breach of faith with the referendum if we sign up to this deal. I don't think it gives effect to the referendum. I don't think it gives effect to the Prime Minister's own commitments and the commitment that every Conservative MP made in their manifesto to leave the customs union and the single market. And there's a reason we did that, is we want to grasp the opportunities of Brexit, including free trade, which are there for aspirational working Britain. This deal can't deliver that.
And finally, many people sitting in the audience today will look at this and say this is your leadership bid.
Well, any politician, now that the Prime Minister's made clear she's stepping down, gets asked that question if they give any speech. But we've got Brexit ahead of us. Big vote tomorrow. What I want to be clear is, rather than this rather pessimistic, defeatist attitude, there is a positive, optimistic alternative on the table, and not just in terms of negotiations or leaving on WTO terms, but a vision for Britain, which is there for aspirational working people in this country.
Dominic Raab, thank you very much.